Hey, this is Dave Jackson from the School of Podcasting, and today I'm going to talk to you about why you need a podcast coach or consultant. This is an article on Facts Chronicle by Michelle Perez. It's dated October 19th, 2017. And if we scroll down, you'll see where she gives great advice like here, you need a microphone. No real explanation of which one to buy or what's the pros and cons of each. But my favorite is if I go down here to number 4, you will see where she recommends for beginners, Soundcloud is the best because it offers free hosting. Your podcast hosted on Soundcloud is distributed through an RSS feed. That's true. Podomatic is another place where you can host. It's also great for beginners and offers free hosting. Now, the bad news about SoundCloud is they've lost over $300 million. Now, just to back that up, let me show you. Michelle had done an article months ago that recommended SoundCloud. And if we go down here, you will see where it says investors would be forgiven for the distrust since SoundCloud has burned over $230 million in funding plus $70 million, so basically $300 million again, in debt with little monetization progress to show for it. In other words, they're not making any money. This is a horrible suggestion for anyone in terms of putting a podcast on this. This company can't make any money, and they were really up against do or die. But let's go back to Michelle, shall we? If we go to the top here, I'm sure we can see her other podcasting related articles here at this site. Okay. I don't see any, but I'm sure we can go ahead and just Google her name and podcast, and she'll come right up. So if I go here, podcast, nope, don't see any. I see where she was a guest on somebody's podcast, but let me show you what, let's scroll down a little more. Nope. Let me give a name that just a regular person, and that would be Connie Whitesell podcast. This is what should happen. There you go. Small Business 101. If you have a podcast, you should be able to put your name and podcast, and it should come up. So you're taking advice from somebody who may not even have a podcast about how to start a podcast. And this is why it's so easy to get really, really bad advice on starting a podcast. And as a teacher, I want to help you do things the right way. So my resources for that, if you want to study on your own self-pace, you can go over to schoolofpodcasting.com. I've got step-by-step tutorials, or starting in 2018, I have Start Podcasting in 6 Weeks. You can find that at podcastingin6weeks.com, where we will meet week by week and go over everything from planning your podcast, your equipment, recording. And by the end of February, you will have a podcast in Apple Podcast, in Stitcher, in TuneIn, and Google Play Music. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I'm Dave Jackson from the Schoolofpodcasting.com.